Good evening, people, and welcome to the show. We have two comments already right off the bat. Hey, real quick, just to give you a heads up, do the dishes. Okay. If you have the day off, do the dishes, do a chore so you don't get in trouble. That's all I'm going to say. I'm sure we'll dive into that later. Welcome to the Contagion Effect, everyone. It is 6 o'clock on Thursday. Thank you for joining us again. We appreciate everybody that comes through. We appreciate the comments. We appreciate the emails and the texts and the messages that we get. We get to do this again. We is, me, myself, and I right now. And that is cool because we get to talk to veterans and first responders and law enforcement and firefighters and people that I think that are cool because that's what we do. We give the platform back to our community and we are rolling. We are rolling and we are going to have a great time. We have a awesome guest with us tonight. We are going to dive into not only is she an author, a poet, amongst just the minimum, just a few things. Army vet. We'll get into all the backstory on that. So share, like, subscribe, and send it out to your friends. Have people join because this is going to be informational. You're going to learn some things, and it's just going to be cool because you can go support and go buy her book. She has 2 books out. I know that she has of 2 books that are out right now. My Healing Avenue and Healing Like a Warrior. So go check those out. And they are they're in poetry form, which is awesome because have you ever tried to put your life in poetry? It's tough. It's tough. I appreciate what she does, and I appreciate the correspondence that we have because I have an awesome email that she had posted on her site for letting her viewers know and her support staff know that she's coming on to the Contagion Effect show, which you can listen to live on Thursday nights at 6 o'clock. And that's why we're here today. You can also listen to it on Reach Across America. I haven't hit the comment button. I want to see how high I can go before I can do that. But yeah, so that's what we got going on today. Last week was Griffin Gwinner. Thank you for joining. Stash Salt. Damn it. A week and I still screwed it up. Stashsalt.com. Go check out his stuff. I have my little comb still. I got my wax. I didn't wax up today because I was lazy. Yeah, so go check that out. But we have to run a few and we'll get back to the stories of what they tell us and what they're doing and what they got going on. So we hit double digits. Let's get Scotty Hastings in the intro first, and then we'll go jump into the comments.
Yeah, the times and places, they may change, but one thing stays the same. The stories that they tell about going through hell, if you think they wouldn't do it all over again, well, you just don't know them. The memories that they own of the ones who didn't make it home. But they keep them all living in the stories that they tell.
Welcome. Thank you, Scotty Hastings. And I had a feeling I would have bet a 20 spot on that. Derek, thank you for joining us. Derek was episode 89 of the Contagion Effect show and got us in contact and the interweb of guests and everything that we do here is awesome. Thank you for joining us. Bourbon Battle Buddy, thank you. I appreciate you jumping on. Yeah, we're going to run through these real quick. Kimmer. I got permission to call her Kim, so we're going with Kim. Yeah, appreciate it, man. This is great. Craig, thank you for joining. Hey, how come you didn't pop up there, Craig? There you go. Absolutely. What is up, Brian Roof? Wow, that was a faux pas. I just kind of sat there for a second trying to read. I know. Maybe I'll just put it on real quick for you. Maybe I'll put it on. Kirk Poe, thanks for joining. Appreciate you. When there was 2 of us doing the intro and it was kind of cool, we could banter back and forth. It ran a little bit longer, but the cool part is I can just bring my guests on and we can get right into the stories. But I do want to say that remember that you can listen to us, and this will be rebroadcasted on Tuesday night Tuesday night at 8 o'clock on Reese Across America. We appreciate all of the sponsorship support that we've gotten from Reese Across America. So we're going to go back to back on with them, and we'll be right back. The Contagion Effect Show can also be heard on Reese Across America Radio on Truckin' Tuesdays at 11 p.m. Eastern. You can find Reese Across America Radio on the iHeart app, the Odyssey app, and the TuneIn app. Search the word Wreath. Hey, that was supposed to be a back-to-back there, Mr. Production Man. Hold on.
Remember.
Honor. Teach.
Give the gift of remembrance. Sponsor a $17 Veterans Wreath for an American hero. Learn more at wreathsacrossamerica.org.
wreathsacrossamerica.org. Phenomenal organization that has allowed us to place wreaths out at the San Joaquin National Cemetery for our veterans and heroes throughout all of the wars, and near and dear to our hearts. And I think it's a great thing. I believe, today is the 18th. I believe they ended their buy one get one. So throughout the year you can purchase. We have a link that goes $5 comes back to us. And again, with all the different apparel and stuff that we buy and all the gifts that we do and supporting our veterans, it's going right back into the veteran community. Remember, you can also pick up your Hero Stock calendar. Get them quickly because January is almost over and you're going to miss one of the coolest pictures in there. But you can also get your your Hero Stock calendar at herostock.org. I think it's a $12 donation, and it is quality. It is good quality, going to a good support group for our veterans and providing support for a stronger tomorrow. Thank you, Jason Steiner, and everything that you do with them. Wills for Warriors out of Nebraska have teamed up, and exactly. January, and I believe we're January. Sorry, bro, you didn't make the cut for January, but Brian Roof and Tom Ettinger and Scotty and Jason, we made the March calendar part too. So let's get to it, ladies and gentlemen. Live from the great state of Kentucky, a nice cool winter storm warning, a cooling trend, as they say during the winter months here. Author and writer Kim Gwinner, welcome to the Contagion Effect.
Hi, Eric. Hey, everybody.
How you doing? Well, thanks for joining. I know it's the time zone, and I know it's a little bit later there, so we're going to get right back to it, right?
Okay. Yeah, thanks for having me, Eric. I appreciate this.
Yeah, absolutely. You are a veteran of the Army, and our platform is always available for whoever needs to use it to get the story out there of the past and what's going on now in the present and the future, and the support that you have shown, always jumping on the comments and stuff like that and sharing and liking and letting your people know that, hey, there's people out there that support veterans, even though we're not veterans, but we support the hell out of them. And, we're here because, it's what we're here for. Right. So first of all, excuse me, Mike had always liked to get the little backstory of where you grew up and where you went to school, and then the transition into military. So let's start with that. Where did little Kim grow up? Where did you grow up?
I was born on the west side of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
And that's pretty much where I grew up until I started my high school years. We moved out east to Piketon, Ohio, okay. Pike County. And I graduated out there. Well, everybody else in my family is graduated from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So But it was nice out there. Lived on a farm. My uncle owned it. Had my own motorcycle when I was 13 years old. Had a Kawasaki, and but my senior year I was in a foster home, and from there I always wanted to be a cop.
Okay.
I always wanted to be Angie Dickerson,
Yeah,
policewoman, Sergeant Pepper, you know. Yeah, I love her. I had to be like her. So the only way that I could was join the military. So I joined the Army as an MP,
Okay.
and I had a hard time in there, yeah, especially being assaulted
Yeah.
and basic training and stuff. But all's good right now.
Yeah. So you knew you wanted to be in the military just growing up, like that just was something that you wanted to do, right?
Yeah, it was something that I wanted to do.
Yeah. And it was going into going in, getting into the Army, that was kind of like your stepping stone through the, to kind of go through that process, right?
Yeah, that was me out on my own for the first time.
Yeah. How is that knowing that, there's a little bit of a rough patch, and then here you are kind of on your own again, right? In the military. And there were some things that happened. Was it always like, was there ever a point where you're like, it's just not worth it? Like, it's just not worth it.
After the first time I was raped, yes, I thought that. But then I thought, I'm not going to give up on my dreams.
Yeah. Yeah. And back in that time, was there help for the situation?
No.
Or was just kind of figure it out yourself, or be quiet, or
Yeah, it was
you must have
quiet.
done something. It was the blame game, right? It was blame the victim.
Yep. Shame, everything.
Yeah.
Fear.
Yeah. Did you feel like retaliation was part of that too? Did you feel like there was, was it, she's in trouble, it's her fault, she brought it upon herself?
Well, no, nobody knew about it until I started in the VA.
Okay.
I mean, a couple close friends knew. I confided in them.
Yeah.
But I didn't really open up until I started going to the VA and getting help.
Yeah. We had talked before, and there's a few questions now. There's a few questions that I had for you, but I'm kind of like, you know what? Let's continue. We'll talk about what happened, but also the fact that now you're kind of a badass. Excuse my language. Like, you're kind of a badass. Like, you fought from that spot, right? How was your career whenever you became law enforcement?
Oh, in the Army, it was okay. I abused the authority some. I had a hard time taking orders from men. I got a couple Article 15s for it. But at the same time, I got letters of appreciation for doing my job.
Yeah.
So one kind of weighed out the other, and I got to stay in the military.
Yeah. Whenever, when you're going through that, right, was there ever a moment, or the coming forward part? Like, when was the, hey, I need to say something, or I need to bring it to light? Like, what was that part?
That didn't happen until after I was out for many years, and I went to the VA.
Okay.
Actually, my best friend took me to the VA. She says, I'm not going to watch you go through this anymore.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know the VA existed.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And so she took me up there and dropped me off, and I spent, oh God, I don't know, 20 days or so inpatient.
Nana Penny. Hi, Nana Penny. That's my mom right there. Yeah. So and time frame wise, what year was this? What year was?
It was 1998, I believe.
98. So
98.
There were programs in place, and so do you feel like going through the VA, you felt like that it got, I don't want to say dealt with, but was it beneficial? Did you feel like you got the benefit of going there and getting the help that you needed? Did you feel like that was enough?
Oh, I'm still in therapy with the VA at the VA.
Yeah.
My mental health care has been excellent.
Okay.
I mean, I cannot complain about a single one of my therapists or doctors. I mean, I love them all.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and it's such a salt. I don't know. So how has the experience, how has it affected you as far as just like going through, you know, going through the trauma and then now going through VA and getting the help?
Well, there was other circumstances why I got out of the military, Eric. I was over in Germany and I called home to talk to my little brother and sister to see what they wanted for Christmas. And my mother, which always threw me out and beat me and everything when I was a child, that's why I was in a foster home. But she asked me to come home, and I got real cocky with her. And I told her, I'm never coming home. I'm getting ready to re-enlist. So the next day I went to guard mount, and I was pulled out of formation, told to report to the Top's office. So I went to see Top, and he told me that the lieutenant wanted to see me. So I went and saw the lieutenant. I had 2 NCOs with me, and they had a bottle of whiskey, German whiskey. And I didn't know what was going on. And then when I walked in there and I saw him and I saw the look on his face, I said, what happened? You know, did she get in a fight? Is she in the hospital? What? And he looked at me with dead cold eyes and says, she's dead. Just like
wow.
that. And then they handed me the bottle of whiskey. And I stayed drunk the whole time up until after I was going to the VA.
Wow.
I mean, it just ate me up real bad. That and
Yeah.
the rapes, you know, I was raped by my senior drill sergeant. I was raped by a lover later on. She really tore me up. It's hard to imagine what she put me through.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry that you went through that. That's, yeah, being an advocate for abuse, as you are, working with the VA and going to the VA for help. What do you think the biggest obstacle is? Is it just shame? Is it just that part of someone's like, oh, I'm the only one that's went through this. Nobody understands what I'm doing or what I'm going through. Or is it the, I mean, again, I've never went through anything like that. So I'm not trying to be insensitive. I'm just trying to get to the point of there's somebody out there that may be watching or listening,
Right.
that they don't know. I mean, they know that there's help, but they just don't know how to go about it. Right.
Right.
I mean, you said one of your friends had helped you get there because she said,
Yeah.
hey, listen, like, we're not doing this.
But when it first happened, you know, you cry alone without any tears because there's nobody to trust.
Yeah.
And they don't advertise it, didn't say anything about it. But, oh, man, it is really tough. But now I hear and I know that there are resources to help, even if you're active duty.
Yeah.
They have a program. And they're now taking it out of the chain of command and putting it in another area. So you don't have to worry about your commander sitting in. I mean, it's still a scary process, but at least it's a process. That's something I didn't have available to me when I was in.
Guess I should put my button back on after I coughed there. And I think that's part of the change, right? Like there's got to be that part of, hey, and then there's assault happens and it's covered up, and for shows like this, right? I mean, it's a sensitive topic, and normally we kind of we have stories of being shot at or being ambushed and stuff like that, and it's one of those things that it's hard to explain it because if we don't go through it, right? So mentally, PTSD wise, I mean, just the trust, right? Like it's broken. It's broken trust, right?
Yeah.
How does that get built up? How does that get built up? Or does it ever get back to being built up to that level?
Well, I always had a problem with men until I met Warriors for Life. And Derek Iozio, he was too unbelievable. He was the first man I trusted.
Yeah.
And then there was Kirk Poe, and then the other guys. When I started going to them, they were a peer support group. I didn't even turn my camera on. I didn't talk.
Yeah.
Then when I started, they accepted me for who I was and what I've been through.
Yeah.
And that was a great feeling. I never had that feeling before, except at the VA.
And how long ago was that you guys started doing the meetings?
It's been a little over a year now. It was September.
So recent. I mean, the trauma has been there for 35 years, 40 years.
Yep.
Now, and the help is just, and that's where I think we're, again, I didn't go through it, so I don't want to bash on them, but it's fine. It's kind of like that drop off, right? Like, hey, you're done with your service, whatever you dealt with, whatever you went through, good luck finding help for it. And it's kind of a lot. I mean, we're at our 99th episode, right? And so that's literally what we hear quite often is just there's no exit. There's no exit strategy, I guess. I hate saying that because it's not. Well, it is war. It is war. People are going through war in their own mind from the PTSD and the different things that they've seen and had to deal with. So,
Yeah.
And Derek Iozio, again, one of those guys. You're just like, man, solid. Doesn't matter what your background is. Doesn't matter what you're going through. Just a solid, good person who's there for you and non-judgmental, because we're not the ones to be judging people, right? Derek says, for anyone listening, if you are someone who knows how a traumatic experience, there is hope. Absolutely. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. I do have, we're going to talk a little bit about the victoryforveterans.org. The organization is one of those that's out of Texas. I believe it's like Conroy, Texas. And it seems that you have not one, not two, but 3 different shows or support
Groups.
programs that's going on. Did you want to talk a little bit about that?
Okay. Veterans, Victory for Veterans is, they do many things, but the Warriors for Life part, we have support groups 7 nights a week, sometimes twice in a day. So if you're ever out for needing the help or want to join in or something, you're more than welcome. We accept you just as you are. But after I was there for a little less than a year, I started talking to Michael, the colonel, who's in charge, the founder of Victories for Veterans. I talked to him and I told him, I says, hey, I'd like to step up. I'd like to take part of this. And he says, sure, you can be one of the facilitators. So now I'm a facilitator for 3 groups. I have Tuesday night, which is Topic Tuesday, where we try to have a subject that we talk about. And then Friday mornings, I have Coffee Break, Coffee with Kim. And that's just open floor. We talk about anything everybody wants to talk about. And then on Friday nights, I have a women's only group called The Front Porch. And that's where it's just us women, and we sit around and we talk.
I think I tried to join that one night. I think I kind of joined. I'm like, hey, I can't find the link. And then I did the research. I'm like, okay, well, no wonder why I can't find the link. I can't join it. That was awesome. So yeah, check out victoryforveterans.org. There's a ton of information. They also do a flowers for the graves, and there's a lot of information, like tons of information on here. And I think that's awesome. I think that's great, because what it gives you is it gives you that ability to get in front of people and I don't want to say relax, but it gives you that voice of, hey man, like I'm somebody that can help somebody. And it seems like you have that personality of like, listen, I've been through this. I've been through hell, and I've come back, and I'm not perfect, but I'm getting there. I'm getting healthy, and I'm getting my mind right. And I have a support group that's just crazy awesome. And so I kudos to you, because getting up and telling your story and coming on a show like ours is one of those things where it's nervous. It is. It's hard to talk because, I mean, yeah. Oh no. Yeah. 100%. I can sit and BS, but the one thing I found out is whenever you have veterans on, it's so hard to BS veterans because they've seen so much more. Right. And it's just, a friend told me one time, don't bullshit a bullshitter. And so, I mean, I guess if the shoe fits, right.
Yeah.
Tonto, welcome.
I worked for the VA as well.
Okay.
I went through the Trauma Recovery Center. It's a 7-week program that's residential. And I graduated and I knew what I wanted to do. I volunteered for like 3 years and then a position came open for peer support.
Okay.
So I was all over that. My supervisor interviewed me with other people, other veterans, and I was selected, which was awesome. I've never had a real job before, never.
Right.
And so I was doing that for a few years, and I was triggered every day. I was getting burnt out because I didn't have no break.
Right.
And but being in a room full of guys, 10, 12 guys, just me and them, that got to me.
Yeah.
It ate me up. And then being a lesbian, when I was in with the women, I thought they were going to think that I was hitting on them as I was trying to help them.
Right.
So yeah, I didn't last there that long. I had probably about 5 years. But
wow.
Yeah. But I had to quit. In fact, they were helping me quit.
Oh,
they were
really?
they were getting ready to show me the door.
Going into something like that, is it one of those things where you're like, I know I can help these people if they would just open up and realize that I'm here to help them. But again, you're dealing with that fragile balance, right? Of the trust, the no trust, the what's the backstory here. I feel like that sometimes is the hardest thing to do, is to break the shell and to open up and be like, hey, we're here for you. Like we have programs, we can help.
Yeah. I knew I wanted to help. I was a really good volunteer. I put in so many hours. I put more hours in as a volunteer as I did actually working. Because I did fun things with all the veterans that were hospitalized and inpatient. And when I got to be an employee, I didn't have all the freedoms that I had as a volunteer. Like as a volunteer, I didn't talk to them about, their triggers or what happened to them. As a employee peer support, you have to.
Yeah.
And some of the stories just broke my heart, Eric. You can't imagine the stories.
Yeah.
But yeah, it took its toll on me. I stayed drunk. I sobered up for like 2 years when I was working, but I started drinking again because of being triggered and everything, and I continued to drink until 21. When I started therapy again, I quit therapy and everything. Tried to commit suicide.
When you go through something like that, and you're again, you've helped people, and then you're dealing with your stuff, you're dealing with your mental health, and what are the things being as a caregiver? And I know obviously if you would have stayed there, you would have been awesome. Do you think that you're just like, it's just too much? It's just too much. I don't want to deal with it. Or is it part of that thing of like, I just don't want to deal with my own crap? What do you think is one of those things where you're like, man, I need to turn this around? Like, what's that click moment where you're like, man, I need to pull my own head out of my ass?
Well, to begin with, I had problems with the staff. I love everybody that worked there, but, I was the first peer support that my VA hired, and they didn't know what to do with me. They didn't know what I was trained to do. They didn't know anything about nothing that I was doing. And when they have groups, they have 2 staff members, But when the peer support has group, it's just the veterans and the peer support. There's only one of me. There's not two of me in there to bounce stuff off of. So you have to open up about yourself and tell your story and try not to trigger anybody, but at the same time listen to their story without being triggered, which I had a hard problem doing. And I lost a lot of work. I had a surgery to where they left stuff in me for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wow. And I was having problems with my own mental health at that time. And it was like, I wasn't going to work. I always had an excuse. But like I said, the program was affected by that. And the VA I left my supervisor no choice but to fire me. So she began the procedure to fire me. But I was able to get retirement disability.
So you kind of dealing with your own mental health. You really didn't deal with your own mental health, but yet you're trying to start this program, trying to help other people, but yet you don't even have the toolbox. You have the toolbox, but you have no tools in there to explain or to just the camaraderie, I guess, right?
Right.
With the shows that you have on Victory, on Victory for Veterans. Yeah, on victoryforveterans.org. Those shows that you are like, hey, this is what we're dealing with. Like, let's all, like, everybody can share their story. Like you said, it's a kind of an open forum type on Tuesday. Or
no,
was
on
that
Tuesday.
On Friday?
Yeah.
Friday. Yeah.
Friday.
On Friday. Do you think that from then to now, you think that's helped you kind of deal with some of your things? If you were to go back to the VA, you think that your program would be more beneficial?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah. So having that outlet of a show, even with a show like this, I mean, maybe that's something in your future where you're like, hey, on Tuesday nights, we're going to do this and we're just going to sit here and talk, and again, I know you have your show on Tuesday. But it's that camaraderie, right? It's that group and the support and the service giving back to your fellow man. And so man, as far as, humanity.
Yeah.
But I think it's awesome. I think that it's one of those things where the trigger part is kind of helping you out a little bit though, too. Right. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where, it's uncomfortable. It is hard. It's hard to talk about your issues and what you're going through, but yet, I know, listen, I know there's people in the comments that have more issues than I have, right? I mean, I've had a pretty simple life, a pretty easy road. I haven't had a lot of the issues that I've heard over the course of the last 2 years. And I feel like I'm not bleeding heart guy. Like I feel bad and I want to do something. And, knowing that, we're here, you love poetry, right? You love to write and you love to have that outlet. Talk a little bit about how that became part of your recovery process.
Well, I was in therapy. I began therapy again, and I got a therapist that I truly love. I couldn't tell her anything. It was hard for me to still talk about it.
Yeah.
And
so we're talking recently, right? We're talking recently.
Yeah, we're talking a couple years ago.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome.
And she says, why don't you try writing about it? So I did. I sat down and I wrote about three of the rapes. And I wrote about them in detail to her because she needed to know, even though I couldn't talk about it. Yeah. I wrote about them in detail. And I don't know if she ever really read them or not, but it was such a release to get it out. Because I've never been able to talk about details before in my life.
Yeah.
And so that opened up the door for us. And like I said, I love Cindy so much. She helped me so much. But
where can we get this book? Where can we find it?
My books are on Amazon.com and through Barnes & Noble.
Go pick up the book. And what we normally do. Jenna Carlton has been on the show, and she writes about the veteran workbook. Derek's been on the show. I'm getting a little bit of you can see my little book stash over here, right? Derek's is over there, and Rick's is over there, and our General Martin. He we got one of his books, and I love the expression part of what you do. The poetry form, and I kind of stopped for a second. I'm trying to think of how to put it, but the poetry part is poetry's hard in general, right? But to be able to express yourself and tell your story through it, I think is amazing. I think it's so therapeutic for people.
It was for me.
Yeah. And I mean, we can be honest. That's the only reason. That's the only thing that matters, right? As long as it's therapeutic for you. And I do appreciate, I do appreciate the sentiment and sending this to me, and then amazing. I hope it's. This is the second book, Healing Like it's a continuation of the first book, Healing Like a Warrior. This is My Healing Avenue by Kim Gwinner. Go out and get it. Add it to your collection, because the stories and what goes on as a female in the military is, there's not enough stories out there. There's not enough stories. But yeah, that's it's amazing to me what you got going on.
Thanks. I'm working on my third book.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Do we get a little snippet? Some more poetry? Got some more poetry?
Yeah, it's
poetry. Something. Okay, all right. You sent me a clip. Well, I don't say a clip because it's a full song. You sent me a song, and we're gonna listen to it first, if you don't mind. I want to play it first.
Okay.
And then we can talk about it afterwards after this. So let me pull this up real quick as I extended it down there. Shoot. Come on, Eric. Hold on, dead space. We're almost. I promise. Okay. There we go. All right. This is Something to Say. This is Something to Say by Charlie Hines.
Yes.
Okay. This is basically the story of your life, right? So here we go. World debut. We're going to clip this right here. Ladies and gentlemen, Something to Say.
My only friend, wasted years and painful days, but I still have so much to say.
Hold on, Kim. You know what happened? Remember, we were playing it before the show. Doggone it. That was so. Hold on. Yeah, we're going to do it the right way. There we go.
What did I do wrong? Is it even my fault this time? 'Cause I'm out on the street again. I still feel the scars from the extension cords and the hand around my choking voice. I wanna be free of this. Traumatized by every side, I saw the world through broken eyes. My mother took her own life one night during Christmas time. Can't say I didn't try to plan the same. Oh, the years have tried to take my voice away, but somehow I found a way to survive. Traumatized by every side, I saw the world through broken eyes. 'cause I was no one needing someone who could meet me right where I am. I was scared and always lonely. Would this bottle be my only friend? Wasted years and painful days, but I still have so much to say. If I could save the innocent, try to be like Angie Dickerson and lock all the bad guys away. Maybe that could be my saving grace, that frees me from this painful place. But those thoughts never called me home to stay. Traumatized by every side, I saw the world through broken eyes. 'Cause I was no one needing someone who could meet me right where I am. I was scared and always lonely. Would this bottle be my only friend? Wasted years and painful days, but I still have so much to say. I went through hell and took those I loved with me. And for my silence, I hope one day I'll be guilt-free. I survived my own set of wars and found the strength to get up again, to get up again. 'Cause I was no one needing someone who could meet me right where I am. I was scared and always lonely. Would this bottle be my only friend? Wasted years and painful days, but I still have so much to say. I was no one needing someone. They met me right here where I am. I was scared and always lonely, but that bottle's just a distant friend. No more wasted years, still some painful days, but I still have so much to say. Don't even try to get in my way. I've got so much I still need to say.
You're muted.
I'm muted. Thank you.
You're muted.
I'm muted. Tell me a little bit of story about the background there.
Well, my new therapist, Nicole, she has a women's courage group,
Okay.
and
Yeah, Kurt.
She-
we're
she
pretty
hit-
proud of her.
yeah, she has local singer-songwriters volunteer their time through the VA to her program, and she chose Charlie for me. And at first, I doubted her because, one, he was a man,
Yeah.
and two, he couldn't ever get what I felt.
Yeah.
Well, Charlie interviewed me on the phone a couple times, and he read my books, and he came up with that song. He wrote it, he sings it, he produced it, and it's just it's my story.
Yeah.
You know, he nailed it.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. I was sitting there listening before the show, and I'm just like, man, like this is just awesome. It was, I'm so happy for you,
Thank you.
being able to, you know, being able to have someone do that for you and the emotion, and I can tell you get a little choked up listening to it. Um, and I try to write down some things as I'm listening to it, and I get mesmerized because I'm a squirrel anyways. But there was a part where it said I was no one needing someone, right? I felt like I was no one needing someone, and
Yes.
it's just one of those things where it just sticks in your head, knowing that the trauma and everything that you went through. Thanks, Tim. Uh, Appreciate you guys. Hey, Rick Stone, real quick. Rick Stone, thank you for joining. Tim, thanks, and Kirk, thanks for joining on. We absolutely do. We all love Kim. This is, for me. I knew once I saw you in our comments and we talked a little bit, and it's the story needs to get out there, right? There's support for everyone. But getting back to the song, Charlie Hines did a great job, absolutely phenomenal job on that. And like I said, I wish I could, buy it twice. It's one of those things. I know it's a you thing, and I know it's it's personal. But we're going to implement it. We'll use it for some things. We got some videos coming up. So I appreciate everything that you've opened up and shared for us and done. And anytime you need something from us, we're here for you.
Thank you.
I think your story is one of those where it needs to be told. It's uncomfortable because nobody wants to talk about that part of what happens, and unfortunately, it's an everyday occurrence that happens.
Yes.
Again, tell us your days that you are that you're on at Victory for
Veterans.
Yeah, I was trying to. I literally just told you I can't do two things at once. So go ahead and tell us your thing and where we can find you social media wise and everything.
Okay. If you go to the homepage of Victory for Veterans, you'll see a drop down. It says Warriors for Life, WFL. And if you click on that, it brings down a drop box, and it shows all of the facilitators. It tells you a little bit about us and what we do. But I host Tuesday nights where I try to have a topic, and we talk about it, discuss it, share things. And then on Friday morning, I do the coffee break, and that's open floor. We discuss anything. And then on Friday nights is a women's only group called the Front Porch, and that's where we just sit and talk about things.
Derek Ozio and Friends is on Monday mornings at coffee break starting at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Kirk also hosts, who's in the comments, and I think this is so awesome. I think what you have got, the group that you've got behind you. You can click on your host, you can read your host, you can read about your Zoom. Tuesday night, Tuesday topic at 4:30 Pacific, 5:30 Mountain, and you can go east, 3 o'clock, 3 hours East Coast time, West Coast here. Let me grab a couple more comments. Joel, thank you for joining us. Let me grab this real quick. I've known Kim for a few months. Yeah, you can tell she's got that personality of just the compassion and the understanding, and I can tell that she's no bullshit either. So mind your p's and q's and don't be a jerk. When I'm not wrong, am I wrong? I'm just saying. Craig Phillips, thank you. Absolutely, I can tell that what she does is awesome, and again, I'm glad I got to meet her, and that's why I love what I get to do is we get to talk to yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We got some rolling in the show, but I'm like, it's all good, brother. all good. Again, thank you for joining the Contagion Effect. I know that we were way far out, and then all of a sudden we're like, hey, it's go time, it's go week, interview week. Let's go have a good time. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Again, people, go check it out. I know Barnes and Nobles and that other place, what's it called, Amazon. Go check it out. She has 2 books. She's working on the 3rd, My Healing Avenue and Healing Like a Warrior. Did I mess that up? Healing Like a Warrior is
Yeah.
first.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. There we go. Market A and B, 1 and 2. Cameron, I'm gonna let you have. I don't think Derek's gonna let us get off here. What's that? What's that all about? What's that all about?
Him and Kirk keep telling me everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
And they says, we'll be able to tell you, I told you so. I was like, yeah. You two always do.
Yeah. Yep, there you go. Bam.
They're my big supporters.
That's awesome. Well, and that's cool. And it's, and the thing that I find out is you have to allow them to be your supporters too, though, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of takes a little bit of opening up for yourself and knowing that, there's not everyone's out to get you. Not everything is a bad thing. Just knowing that you have good people on your side and to support you, I think is for us the hardest thing to do. Yeah. Well, Cameron, thank you so much for joining us. Again, people, victoryforveterans.org. Go check out the drop down Tuesday nights, Friday nights. You can't join the women's if you're a guy. So sorry, that's just the way it is. I proved that. So, Cameron, you have any last parting words that you'd like to say?
Yeah. First, I'd like to thank you for having me again, Eric. I do appreciate it. In my books, there's nothing graphic in my books. I don't write about details in my books. It's safe between me and my therapist only.
Yeah.
But it was due to Nicole. It was due to Cindy. Cindy first told me I should write a book, and then Nicole kind of echoed that, and then she kind of gave me a swift kick in the butt. But so did Kirk, and so did Derek, and Stephen Bates. They all kicked my butt, so it was like, okay, I'll put one out there.
Yeah.
So now
we
I'm on my
can't
third
stop
one.
you now. Now you're on a roll. You're on three. So
Yeah.
Remember, keep us in mind for your 3rd one. We'll have you come. We'll bring you back. Again, everybody, thank you for joining us. Next week, you are more than welcome to join us for our 100th episode. I've sent out about 69 emails, and I've gotten 68 responses back. And so, it's going to be. We're going to be bouncing in and out. And if you want to come in and tell us what you got going on and be a part of our 100th extravaganza, you're more than welcome to join. Derek's got an email too. So, like I said, if there's something we need, that there's something that you need from us, we're here for you, Kim.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Derek Iozio, you get the last word. Thank you, sir. Cameron, I'm going to put you in the back. I'll do a little bit of paperwork real quick, and I'll be right with you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Go check out Victory for Veterans.org. Go check that out. Go check out what Kim has going on. Support everyone that joins our show. Remember, we don't make any money. We don't care about the money. I mean, if someone wants to give money, that's great, but that's not what we're here for. We're here to keep the stories going, to give our veterans and first responders and people that I think have an interesting story the platform, because when this is on the interweb forever, right? And so when we are all gone from this earth, someone can go back and be like, dude had an interview in a bedroom, and he stuttered a lot and didn't know what the hell was going on. So appreciate you guys for showing up and showing out. And remember, next week is our 100th show. We will be having multiple guests. We will try to do as many as we can. But remember that go out and do something. And I'm frozen. Sorry, I'm stalling because I'm frozen over here. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Deuces. Have a good night.